Hi, everyone, and welcome to Reflections of Faith. This is Dee Dryden, and it is the April Fool's Day. I April Fool's a guy that came back from South Dakota and went to Montana, and he was moving the same day actually as I was, and he's single and I'm single, and but it is April Fool's Day, and I had made it clear to him I just wanted to be friends, and so because it was April Fool's Day, I texted him and said that I had always had a crush on him from the first day I met him, and that I always thought that we would be in Montana together, and I went on and on and on in this text. But he didn't have my new number, so he didn't know who was texting him. And so I thought I would take advantage of that, and I happened to have the picture on my phone of the girl that that I took to get my hair cut. I don't know who she is, but I had seen her somewhere. And I said, so I sent him the text with the picture on it, and I said, I met you a couple of weeks ago, don't you remember? I'm so disappointed that you didn't remember that. Yeah. I had him going there for a while. I think he just thought that, and then of course, and then I told him it was April Fool's, and so that was my April Fool's joke today. I also, you know, um, I'll tell you about some things that I had done at a later date, April Fool's Day. A few of my real quick stories. My kids will tell you that nobody wants to be around me on April Fool's Day. However, I have retired and not trying to retire, but the biggest one that hit the papers of Rapid City, South Dakota was when I had invited my sons, who were adults, to go to Perkins with me on April Fool's Day when I was heading back from Montana the first time I was here to go for vacation at home. And I happened to be in a hotel room, and I had this idea, and so I went over to Perkins to set this whole thing up with the Perkins managers and stuff. And so they didn't want to come on April Fool's Day because they had been so April Fooled by me over the years that they just weren't going to eat or be around me that day at any point. And so we had to do it on April. They said they would come the next day on April 2nd. So we got together on April 2nd at Perkins restaurant in Rapid City. So as we sat down, then the waitress took our order. The manager came up, and she had these 3 apples, and she said to us, we're doing a promotion for, and of course I made all this up, so we're doing a promotion for Perkins, and you get to be in our free commercial, and you get a free meal today if you participate in this little contest that we're having. And the boys were like, yeah, let's do this, and they were all happy about the whole thing. And she said, but what we're going to do here, and of course everybody's watching because she's kind of loud, and all the workers are watching this whole process take place because they knew what I had done. So she said, what we want to do is we're going to have this little contest between the two of you. She asked if I was the mother of the 2 sons, and they were like, yeah, and the whole bit, and they really wanting to get to doing this little contest. And so after they had after she explained the rules and whatnot, she said that we all had to take the apple, and at a count of 3, she got her little stopwatch out, and we had to eat. Whoever ate the apple the fastest got to, they were caramel covered apples, got to be in the commercial and get the free meal. So she counted 1, 2, 3, and we all bit into our apples. And oh, it was so funny because I looked over, and I know what's going to happen. And my youngest son, Grant, he hacks it. He takes a big bite and swallows it and hacks it all out. And my oldest son takes a bite and he spits it out, and he's the oldest son usually is the one that doesn't take the joke very well, but he's laughing. He's just totally laughing because the youngest one gulped the whole onion because theirs were chocolate covered onions. So one of them said, "We're not even we're not even safe today after," and the other one said, "Yeah, now she's bringing it out in public." And so it was just absolutely hilarious. I was laughing so hard I was in tears. I'm just surprised that she never got the carameled onions mixed up, and I ended up having one of them, but I didn't because one of them was smaller than the rest. And I made sure that she gave me that one. And so the following year, when I was working at the school in South Dakota, and I moved down there with them, April Fool's Day came, and the week before, I was telling the girls in the kitchen where I was working at the school about this joke, and she said, "Well, you ought to put it in the Rapid City paper." So I did that, and of course, when April Fool's Day came along, it came in and it happened to be on a Sunday or something like that, or the paper. So I brought the paper home because I didn't do any April Fools. I told them that I was going to retire. Of course, they didn't believe me because it was April Fool's Day, and it just so happened that they were both home that day, and somebody had come to the house. It was a gal who was doing a survey, and at the time the boys were really kind of low on money, and she said that she would give them $30 in cash if she did this um, questionnaire about drugs on a computer, and she would give them $30 in cash. And this happened on April Fools, and of course they thought that it was from me, and so after they had questioned them to do that, one of the oldest sons said, "Well, my mom's going to be home in about 20 minutes. You can come back. She can do this test for you." So they thought that they had me, and that this was going to backfire on me. But however, the only thing that I did was put the last year's April Fools in the paper, which made it, of course, to the front page of the Rapid City Journal. And so I took that paper that the school got, and they all read it, and I took it home and laid it on the kitchen table, and I heard the doorbell ring, and the guys, of course, are laughing because they think that they have gotten me at my own joke. And so the lady comes in and she says, "The boys, your son said that you were going to be home. Do you mind taking this drug questionnaire test that we're just serving it, and you get $30 in cash if you do it?" And I said, "Sure, I don't have any problem with that." So while I'm taking the test, she's sitting there on the computer as I'm taking the test. The boys are walking back and forth through the kitchen by the table, and she spies the journal, the Rapid City Journal. And she sees that, and I didn't tell the boys what I had done, she sees that this house is the one that did the April Fool's joke. She said, "Is this about you and your boys?" And I said, "Yeah, I did that as an April Fool's joke for them last year." And she got to laughing so hard, she thought that was so funny that, after I had wrote it in. And as I'm doing that, as she's saying that, the boys are walking by realizing that this is real, that this woman is an actual survey person, and she's going to give me $30 in cash when this is over with. And they couldn't quite figure that out. But they waited till this whole thing was over with to see how this would end. And so after it was done, she handed me over $30 in cash and shook my hand and just thought that joke was funny, and she said goodbye. When she left, the boys caught me and they said, "This wasn't a joke, this wasn't your joke." And I said, "No, I didn't do anything except for put it in the paper." So of course they were upset because I didn't even joke, and they got joked. And they literally, screwed themselves out of $30. Anyway, I ended up having to take them out for supper that night because they were so mad at themselves that they didn't take the test. That was just so hilarious. God just came through with the joke when I didn't have to. One of my youngest sons, when he was in like 9th grade or 8th grade, I can't remember. It was 8th grade, and he got on honor roll for the first time in his life. And so I was working at the school at the time. So at that time too, as a working through special ed or something like that, I think, a substitute teacher. And so I had the teacher rig up on April Fools. I had her rig up for my son, since he had made it to on the honor roll, to put D's and F's on his report card. And of course, the report cards come automatically to the teachers, but she gave it to him to bring home. So my youngest son went home and he sat down and he just vigorously was studying all his books and stuff. And I had let the oldest son in on the joke. His dad didn't know anything about it, and I said to Grant before his dad came home, I said, did Mrs. Harris give you, or Mrs. Mary, did Miss Mary give you your report card today? And so he brought it up, and his head was really down because there was D's and F's in it, and I didn't say anything. I said, well, you just wait till your dad gets home. And of course the oldest son knows that this is going on, and he just can't believe that this is going to happen. So the husband at the time comes home and he sits down, and I give him the report card, and he said, Grant, he said to my son, come over here, I want to talk to you. And so he sat across from him on the coffee table while he was in his lazy joint. Lazy boy. And you would think that a father would say something about the math or the science or anything other than what he said. He said, how do you get an F in PE? What? Were you not breathing? I mean, of all the subjects for him to pick out, and that was just totally funny. So then my son's grandma called up, and I said, April Fools, I said, you were on the honor roll. Here is your real report card. The poor kid, he was so mad, and so his grandma called him to congratulate him for being on the honor roll, and he didn't know what to believe at this point, of course. So my oldest son was in on the joke, and he was laughing. So over the years, I have done things. But I have retired. I didn't do that. But I did do that to a new friend of mine, that today. So we are on 101 ways to relax and to reduce stress. Surround yourself with supportive people. The world offers plenty of negative comments and criticism. You don't need more criticism, you need encouragement and support. A circle of supportive friends can encourage you to reach your full potential and make life easier and fun. Think about your inner circle. Who believes in you, supports you, and has positive attitude? Which friends drain your energy with compliments, criticism, and negative outlook? Pray about whom you should spend more time with and whom you should spend less time with. Actively seek to surround yourself with supportive friends. Encouragement is oxygen to the soul. Develop a mutual encouragement society, a circle of friends who support, encourage, and believe in one another. Speaking of that, I went to mail a bunch of Easter cards for my family and friends, since this is going to be Easter weekend. So I hurried up and got that taken care of today, and I happened to stop at a Mexican place to eat, and I ran into this lady who was in this particular Mexican place that we were eating. It was very nice, and so we're going to get together on Friday and go see the movie Believe. Do You Believe? And then maybe go out to lunch after that, and so I can visit with her about what God has done in my life. And she seemed like a really nice person, but again, as that 101 Ways talks about, I always pray about my encounters. I pray that God bless the people coming in my life and bless the people going out, because there are toxic people that come into your life that will drain and suck the life out of you with their negative criticism, putting people down. I have some friends in my life that are not my friends anymore, that that God has really, really worked on me letting go. And that's hard to do when you're called into ministry of healing. But in order to go up the ladder and go farther into God and into His Spirit, you have to take out of your life those things, people that are not good for you. I had a girlfriend that before I started and before I was dedicated to Christ, inviting Him into my life and dedicating my life to Him, she was my bar buddy. And after work, we'd go sit at the bar. We'd have a really good time and wonderful time and everything, but it came a point in our lives where God had told me that I had to let her go once I became dedicated to Him, and not to be going to the bars anymore. And that if I do go into a lounge or a bar, it's to bring someone that God has called to the kingdom of Christ, and that's the only reason I would be in there. And usually I'm with a group of people, and that actually happened. I went with a group, a guy that was very much into evangelism on the streets, and we went with them into a bar in Nebraska, and the bartender, that I talked for quite a while, because I used to bartend, so I could understand the position that she was in, and just love on her and talk to her. And she used to be a Christian, and she had slipped and fallen back and stopped going to church, and she had some things going on in her life, and so I took her in back, and I asked her if she wanted to give her life again to Christ and dedicate her life, and I showed her, I got her located in a church in Chadron where she was at. She worked in Crawford at the time, and so she gave her life to Christ. And that's, we traveled from Sturgis to Crawford on a snowy, stormy night on the way home, but God cleared the way for that one person. It never ceases to amaze me how He will go out of His way for one person. That's how much He loves us. That's how much He cares about us, more than we could ever even fathom in our brain. In our tiny little brain, we can't even fathom how much He loves us. I have stories after stories after stories of people He's gone after, that He has gone after and used me as His vessel to go after, because He cares about that person. So the lady that I met today, I'm going to see what God does with that. She seemed to be a very nice lady. We'll just leave that all into God's hands. I don't go in with any expectations. However, I do want to see the movie Do You Believe? And so I get to go on Friday at 12:20 after I have an appointment at 10 o'clock to cut my hair. It's just in my face all the time, so it's going to be cut short around like this, but the rest is going to be left. I'm going to have bangs, so it shouldn't be too bad. It was really windy today, kind of stormy. I ran into Kalispell, and I got some nails to hang up some things, and some little things that I needed. And other than that, it was just a very divine appointment day to meet up with this lady, and I'm not going to say her name because she wants to be kept private, and so and I will respect her wishes. So, having said that, I want to thank you for joining me for and for Reflections of Faith. Be blessed to be a blessing, and don't forget to subscribe. I have about 400 people watching my channel, but you guys are forgetting to subscribe. There's a little button down there that says subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Just say it. All it says is to YouTube that you like what you see. So, and if you have any comments or suggestions or input, don't be afraid to leave comments below. Thank you for joining me, and be blessed to be a blessing.